Hey guys, it's Neil. Welcome back to High Gain Guitar Academy. Today we are going to learn minor chords. These are your sad or more serious sounding chords. Now in another video we learned the major or happy sounding chords. And I was sure to let you guys know that while there are many kinds of chords out there, and it's important to learn as many of them as you can, major and minor, the happy and sad chords, are kind of the building blocks of playing most types of music and most songs. If you can at least learn your major and minor chords, there are literally millions of songs you can play. Now we will continue to learn past that, but for now, these are the basics you need to get going and playing songs and actually having fun playing guitar, right? So we're gonna go alphabetically. This isn't easy to hard or anything like that. It's just alphabetically because we're familiar with that. And we're going to start out, of course, with A minor. Now remember, when you see chords written down and you see the letter of the chord, like A for example, if it just says A, that means it's major, it's happy. But if it says A with a little M next to it, that little M means minor. Now it's confusing because major and minor both start with an M. But let's say that the A by itself with no extra letters, it's happy. The one with the letter, the little M, is sad. So basically, the chord is happy unless we tell you otherwise. Everything's fine unless we tell you otherwise. And if it's got the little M for minor, then you know it's going to be a little bit sad, okay? So here is your A minor chord. We're going to start out with the open A string. No frets need to be held down. This is your open A string, which is your second biggest string. Followed by your middle finger on the 2 of the D. Now remember, as long as you stay within the lines, you can kind of be anywhere on that fret. You don't have to be right in the middle. The reason I bring that up is because while our middle finger is on the 2 of the D, our ring finger needs to be on the 2 of the G. They're right next to each other. So if you move that middle finger back a little bit on the fret, gives you a little extra room for the next guy, okay? He's gonna scooch over and make room so everybody can sit in the second fret. So we've got open A, middle finger on 2 of the D, ring finger on 2 of the G, and now our pointer is going to go on the 1 of the B. Okay, so your little E string at the very end, that's going to be open. We don't have to hold anything down there. Now, one thing we want to keep in mind, you don't want your fingers laying down and touching the little E, for example. It just mutes the string out. So what we want to do is get our fingers to stand up straight on their fingertips. How do we do this? Well, one good way is take your thumb, place it on the back of the neck. When your thumb is on the back of the guitar neck, it forces your fingers to stand up a little bit more straight. It arches them upwards. So that's really the best way to get your fingers to stand up if you find them touching the other strings, okay? So I'm gonna put my thumb on the back, probably lower part of the neck. I've got all my fingers in place and I'm going to play all the strings from the A down. We're not using the big E. A string down. That's a sad A minor chord, okay? So if it doesn't sound right, 2 things you check. Make sure your fingers are all on the right frets, on the right strings, right? Everybody's in the correct place. The other is, pick through the strings one at a time rather than strumming it. And when you find the bad one, you'll know where you need to correct it. That's kind of how you would troubleshoot, if your chord doesn't sound right. But there's your A minor. And this is going to be relative to what works best for you because chords can be played a few different ways, sometimes using different fingers. I'm going to show you how most people do it, and then I'll give you the option of maybe how I do it if it's different. The most common way I've seen this played is the middle finger on the D, ring finger on the G. Those can be reversed, where your ring finger is on the D and your middle finger is on the G. That's typically how I play it. I don't know why, it just is. Maybe because they're all in a row and I just like that. Whatever it is, you're gonna find that the rules aren't really rules, they're just suggestions with music, okay? I'm sure a lot of people told Jimi Hendrix he was playing guitar the wrong way, and I think anybody that pushes the boundaries of music and an instrument, it's okay if you wanna do things a little experimental. I think there's a balance between learning the basics and the fundamentals and finding your own way to create music. I think when both come together, it's a great thing. So there you go, 2 ways to play the same chord. All right, moving forward, we're going to go to the B minor. Now B minor is a bar chord. Now this is a little bit more difficult, and if you have trouble with it, totally understandable. Bar chords are typically a little bit more of an intermediate skill, so we're gonna build up to this, okay? Now what is a bar chord? A bar with guitars, when you use a finger, most of the time your pointer, and you're gonna lay it across the strings. Rather than having a different finger for every string, what if we just laid this finger all the way across them? See, that's much easier and quicker than finding a finger for every fret and every string, just using your pointer. Now remember, I'm going to have my thumb on the back of the neck pressing back against it, so it's almost like I'm making a guitar neck sandwich between my fingers, and I love sandwiches. So yeah, when I have my pointer on the front, my thumb is on the back, and it's kind of pinching the guitar neck. We're gonna apply it to the B minor, okay? So you're gonna hold down the 2 of the A string, right? That's where we're gonna start with our pointer finger. Lay that pointer finger down all the way across the rest of the strings. Now this is good practice for barring, is just doing this by itself. So if I hold down all the second frets except for the big E, strum through that. It can be difficult. Like I said, this is sort of an intermediate skill, but doing it now is going to help you to build up to that, that point where you're playing better songs, more songs. Now that we're holding that bar, we've got to add in a few other fingers to play the chord. See, that's much better. So what we're going to do is we're going to put our middle finger on the 3 of the B, middle finger on 3 of the B. Now, this is another one of those chords where I can use my last 2 fingers in either order. So the first way I'm going to show you is how I usually see it typically done. Your pinky will go on the 4 of the G, followed by your ring finger on the 4 of the D, okay? And we're going to play from the A string down. That's your B minor chord. Now, keep in mind, like I said, your ring finger and your pinky on this one, they can reverse. Your ring finger can come first, followed by the pinky, or the other way around. It doesn't really matter. For whatever reason, I usually have pinky on the D, ring finger on the G. It's up to you. All right, moving on to the C minor. I got good and bad news for you. The C minor is another bar chord. The good news is it's the exact same shape as B minor, just 1 fret higher. Sometimes you get a 2-for-1 deal with guitar chords, and in this case, B minor and C minor are the same shape. B minor starts on the 2, we're just gonna move everybody up to the 3. So your pointer finger goes on the 3rd fret of the A, and you bar all the way across. We don't need the big E, just from the A down. You're gonna bar with your pointer finger. Okay? Now we're gonna put that middle finger, this time it's on the 4 of the B, followed by pinky on the 5 of the G, and ring finger on the 5 of the D. That's your C minor. Now again, your pinky and ring finger, they can switch if that's more comfortable. It's really up to you. Experiment with both ways. Find what is more consistent for you. Whichever way feels like you can play that chord correctly every time, that's probably the one you want to use. Okay, moving on to D minor. This is the saddest chord ever, okay? So D minor, we're gonna start with our pointer finger on the 1 of the little E, followed by our ring finger on the 3 of the B string, okay? And then your middle finger goes on the 2 of the G. And the final string here is going to be the D string, which stays open. You don't have to hold down the D string at all. So you strum from the D string down. Now, D minor, these fingers are pretty spread out. You notice my fingers are coming in at an angle. That's totally fine. It doesn't have to be straight up and down. I am going to put my thumb on the back of the neck again to make my fingers stand up a little straighter. I'm going to point this out, and I did this in the major chords video, but my elbow, sometimes the direction of your elbow can kind of determine how easy a chord is to play. For this chord, my fingers are coming in at an angle, so to have my elbow hanging out here, that really makes it uncomfortable. Bring your elbow into your side. It just kind of plays along with the angle of your fingers here. It's going to make it a lot easier to play. That's a D minor. So remember that elbow thing. Depending on the angle your fingers want to naturally come into a chord, you might make your elbow follow that, and it's going to make it way easier. Okay, easiest chord of all, in my opinion, is the E minor. So that's what's next. E minor, it's just like an E major, but we just take our pointer finger out. So it's actually one less note you gotta hold down, okay? So here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna put our middle finger on the 2 of the D and our ring finger on 2 of the A. That's it. Middle finger on 2 of the D, ring finger on 2 of the A. And we're gonna strum all of the strings this time, okay? That's an E minor. Again, make sure you're standing up on your fingertips, thumb on the back of the neck if that helps. And again, you don't really have to use these 2 fingers in this order. You can reverse them, you could use different fingers, whatever works best for you. Okay, F minor, this one's a little tricky. Again, we're gonna use a bar, okay? We're gonna take that pointer finger, you're gonna bar the first fret of the last 3 little strings, G, B, and E, okay? Gonna hold down all 3 of those last strings with my pointer, pressing back against it on the back of the neck with my thumb. I'm just gonna play those last 3 strings. Okay, now we're gonna give our pinky a little work. Now again, your pinky, not a very strong finger. We don't use it for a ton of things in life, but for guitar, you're gonna use it a lot. So we wanna strengthen and learn how to control that finger, okay? So what we're gonna do is get some practice with the pinky, and we're gonna put it on the 3 of the D string. It's gonna reach over that bar, reach over everybody, go to the 3 of the D string. So here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna play from the D string down. There you go. Make sure that thumb is on the back of the neck to help support the pointer while it's barring, and that pinky is gonna angle over. Now again, notice how my finger's coming in at this angle. Bring that elbow in a little tighter to the body. Makes it way easier. That's your F minor. All right, guys, we are at the final chord of the minor chords, and the good news is it's another 2 for 1. The G minor is exactly the same shape as the F minor, just 2 frets higher. So F minor, we started on the 1st fret. For G minor, we're gonna move that bar with our pointer finger. We're gonna move it up to the 3rd fret. So you're gonna bar all 3 of the last strings, the G, B, and E with your pointer finger, pressing back on the back of the neck with your thumb. Okay, now your pinky, just like before, pinky's gonna reach over here. You're gonna grab the 5 of the D with your pinky, okay? Take some time, get your pinky there, put that on there, and we're gonna play the last 4 strings. That's your G minor. That's a basic G minor. There's also a bar chord version. It's a little bit harder, but we'll cover that in another video. For now, just get your basic G minor down so we can start playing songs with it, okay? That's really my goal here, guys, is to teach you your basic chords, major and minor, so we can start applying them to learning songs. Because really, that's what we're trying to do, right? Just play songs. There you go, A through G minor. So I'm gonna recap, just show you all the chords again, not going through the fingers or anything, just showing you how they sound and how they're played. Here's A minor, B minor, C minor, D minor, E minor, F minor, and G minor. You will rarely, if ever, play them in that order. I've never played a song where the chords went A, B, C, D, E, F, G, okay? I mean, not to say it couldn't happen, but it's not likely. So keep in mind that these are just alphabetical. And when we go to actually use these chords in songs, they'll be all switched up, which makes it extra important to memorize these chords, okay? You have to memorize these chords. When I said the last few words to you, I didn't think about how to spell each word. I just know how to say the word. I've memorized the words and I can speak them to you. So think about it that way. A chord is a word, just memorize the word, okay? Your fingers are putting those letters in order. Just memorize the words so that you can then just sort of speak with the words, right, with the chords. Hope this has been helpful to you. Now we have all our major and minor chords. Of course, there are many other kinds of chords. We'll get to those in another video, but now you have the basics. It's up to you to put in the time and practice. Again, guys, practicing a little bit every day is really what's going to get you good at this. You can't just cram for a test. Like, oh, I studied for 4 hours last night, but I didn't practice anything for the last week. That's not how it goes. It's all about training your fingers every day, just like exercise or working out or sports, okay? Your hands, your arms, they're all muscles. Your brain is too. We got to work them all together, practice a little bit every day, at least 15, 20 minutes minimum every day, okay? And there you go. That's my advice at the end of today's video. Take it, love it, learn it, enjoy it. See you soon.